So what does it mean to be a professional? I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. I have, about myself and about others that I work with. And certainly college students ask that question of me. They wonder, what is it going to look like once I graduate and I get out into the professional world? What will be the expectations of me? What does it look like? And what does it feel like to be a professional? And a lot of them are just confused about what that means. They're confused, they're perplexed, they just think of it as a mystery. But it really isn't a mystery. What it takes to be a professional has a simple recipe, and I'm going to share that with you. So there are three aspects of being a professional: personifying integrity, pursuing performance, and promoting rapport. So let's talk about integrity. Now, certainly college students have the opportunity to cheat on a test, to plagiarize on, an essay or a report. Those are their moments, the typical moments that a college student is going to have a situation where they can be unethical and can have their integrity called into question by a professor or an administrator. But those moments are, in scope, relatively narrow, and the impact on that poor decision is really going to be limited only to themselves. In the rare case, it might go beyond them. But for the most part, it's going to only impact them. Now, that's still not good. It's impacting, that college student's integrity, but the impact is going to be limited to them. Now, once one graduates and goes on into the professional world, that's going to change, because now you're going to have many more varied opportunities, from hiring, firing, promotion, working with vendors, working with customers, working with the general public, other parts of your company. There's going to be many more occasions where one could take a shortcut. One could act unethically. So there's going to be more opportunities like that. But the greatest thing is that the impact could be potentially much greater. Now, there might be occasions where it's only impacting you as an employee, but most of the time, those unethical behaviors are going to impact somebody else. Again, it could be your team. It could be the company as a whole, and in the worst case scenario, could impact the greater general public, including kind of worldwide. It doesn't take long to look at some examples of companies who have done, or individuals within those companies have done something unethical, and that has had a dramatic impact on, potentially people's health, their life savings. So there's a variety of situations where that has happened and could happen. So the biggest difference from coming from a college student to a professional is that the impact of those unethical decisions are astronomically larger. And so that's one of the most important things that you need to know as a professional, is that I need to live a highly ethical professional life. So the second one is performance. So as a college student, one can be quite satisfied, and I know a lot of students are quite satisfied with just getting a C, either in the class or on a particular assignment. They can do what's referred to as maximizing to a minimum. If it's a 90 degree for an A, 90% for an A, that's when I'm going to maximize my effort to that minimum level. Or if it's a B or a C, they'll do that too. And for a student, that's perfectly fine. That's their choice. Again, kind of with the integrity issue, that's up to them. The impact is really only on them. And so that's how a lot of college students will confront that situation of performance is, I'm just going to maximize to the minimum I need for a particular assignment. Now, that's certainly not all students. I know a lot of students will go to great lengths to get as good a grade as they possibly can. But even then, it's really only an impact on them. Now, when you get into the world of work, that changes, because now, as with the integrity, your performance has a tremendous impact on your team and on your company. It's not only about you. So you can't, or shouldn't, a true professional shouldn't say, I'm just going to maximize to kind of average on this, because that's going to impact other parts of the business who may be relying on you delivering high quality results, because it's an input into their work. And so there isn't this choice of like, okay, I'm just going to get this done and it doesn't really matter. It does matter. And a professional appreciates that it matters. And so that high level quality of work is something that you must consistently try to pursue. You don't need to always be perfect at it, and nobody is, but a professional is always trying to improve their performance, increase the quality level, and to maintain a very consistent level as well. And that's through a lot of things, including always being willing to learn, always being curious, always trying to find new information and building up their capability to deliver consistent, high quality results. So that's one aspect of pursuing performance that is very different from college to the professional world. A second element around pursuing performance is about feedback. Now, in college, most professors or many professors will provide feedback on a paper or quiz or a presentation of some sort. They'll provide that feedback. The issue is that college students don't actually read it or use it, but they may also rarely ever seek it out. It's a rare situation that I'll have a student actually come to me and, without it there being a problem, but just say, what can I do better in this class? If my class has a lot of discussion, is there something that I can do to make my comments better, more on point? Is there something that I can do to make myself better in this class? Or how did that presentation go? Or I did talk a lot in class today. What did you think about what I said? Was it good? Could I say that differently? I can't remember a time when that's actually happened. And even the formal feedback I do give for quizzes and papers and so forth, I can see whether or not they've read it or not, and very few actually read it. And even those who do read it, not that many of them will actually implement it. Some do, certainly some do, but that's the way feedback works generally in college. And it's partially because it's up to me whether or not I get smarter or not. It doesn't really matter that much. It's only impacting me anyhow. And again, I'm fine with the C. But when you're in the world of work, you're going to have kind of annual performance reviews. Most places are going to have that, where you're going to sit down with your boss and talk, how did you do this year? My basic opinion of those annual performance reviews is that they're a waste of time. What's much more useful as an employee and as a boss is to have much more frequent kind of check-ins to after a presentation, did you understand what I was saying? Did I make myself clear? And it isn't just about asking your boss that. It's also asking colleagues, asking people maybe even that report up to you. Did you get what I was talking about? Do you understand where we're going? Is there something that I can do better to support you? So feedback as a employee in a professional environment is much greater because you want to get that understanding about where I'm going, what can I do better. And a professional is always want to, again, pursue higher and higher levels of performance. And one way to do that is to get some support and get some direction. How can I get better? And so as a professional, you, in particular, as you move from being a college student, you got to move away from I don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm not really that curious about it, to I want to learn. I want to grow. So give me some information to help me do that. The third ingredient in this recipe of becoming a professional is promoting rapport. Now, this actually is probably one that is maybe most different, I think, as I'm thinking about it, for many college students. And it really kind of even comes back to a couple occasions just recently for me with my students. And what I mean by building rapport or promoting rapport is that as college students, most college students can or do engage with kind of adults in the organization, the professors, academic advisors, career development counselors, and other adults that they may come across for different purposes in their college career. They'll engage them relatively infrequently in comparison to the much more frequent and more informal kind of engagements that they would have with their friends, with classmates, whether or not it's, in their sorority, fraternity, in their dorm, in their classes, in their majors, student clubs, and so forth. That's going to be the preponderance of their kind of relationships that they have during their college years. And to have anything similar with that with professors is very infrequent. And they may build a better rapport with maybe a professor or two professors over their career, but it's an infrequent thing. And I think probably many students can go through without ever doing that. Just the relationships on campus for a student are just heavily geared towards very informal, personal kind of connections. rather than these more kind of formal adult or professional kind of relationships. On top of that, I think even a lot of students I have found, just watching them as well as kind of how they engage me, is that a lot of students will kind of engage, a professor or other, kind of academic professionals almost out of just a necessity. I've got to do this. I got to talk to the professor. I got to get an extension, or can I hand this in late, or I need some help on this thing. They really treat it as like just a very transactional thing. Again, not all of them, but many of them, most of the engagements I've had with students are very transactional. I just need this thing. Can you help me with that? Got it. Move on. And even students who are coming into class, the vast majority of them will just walk in, headphones on, go straight, sit down, look at their phone, and not do anything in terms of engaging a professor or whoever else might be in the classroom. That will absolutely change when you become a professional, because then it's critical that you build a kind of set of relationships that benefit you as a professional, because you never know who might have a job in their department that you want to work with, or can recommend you to a job or for a job within the company, or just people that you're going to have to work with and you're going to have to rely on. Like, I need you to get this report done because I need that information for my report, or vice versa, the same kind of engagement. That type of kind of working with one another, that building that rapport to help with the team and help, kind of achieve our collective goals is so much more important as a professional than it is as a college student. You can go through as a college student, go through your academic career and never really build any relationship or barely even engage a professor if you don't want to. That's perfectly fine. 4 years, never have much of a conversation with a professor, and you'll get your degree and be successful. If you try to do that for 4 years on your job, that would be an incredible situation that would probably never get replicated before and has never happened before. As a professional, you have to engage other people on a constant basis for a variety of reasons, for the team and for yourself. So as you shift from college to the professional world, you've got to come in with a great desire to present yourself as an adult, to engage the other professionals, and to demonstrate that you are a valued member of the team, that you want to be a valued member of the team, that you want to contribute to it. And a big part of that is to actively become a part of the team. So becoming a professional really requires these three aspects. If you as a college student, if you try to work on those things while you're in college and bring them into the professional world, you're going to be very, very successful. These aren't impossible tasks to do. I've seen many college students, many of my students who graduated, gone on into the world of work and have been extremely successful. And anybody, that would talk to them would say, that is a consummate professional. You can too, but this is the recipe how you can do that.